Well, it's that time of year where the NHL trade deadline is just over 3 weeks away. We've already seen two major trades: Elias Lindholm, Sean Monahan going to their new teams, and now we're gonna look at all the other teams here. As today there was some talk about the New York Rangers possibly moving a roster player, which is kind of unheard of when you're in the position the Rangers are in. But it is a former first-round pick, and they can really do some damage moving him for even an upgrade to his position. Welcome back to Gillis TV. If you're new to the channel, like anything NHL, MLB stuff, rumors, news, trades, whatever there is, we have it here covered on the channel. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. Now, the New York Rangers, one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference right now, even going through that slide back in early January, late December, they still find themselves in a prime playoff spot and buyers at the deadline. And although that is the case, they are also listening to offers on a former top prospect, first round pick, second overall, Kaapo Kakko. Now, the young forward is starting to garner more trade interest around the league because of it. According to the fourth period, there are three teams interested in Kaapo Kakko, which one of these teams are still kind of in the playoff picture here or there. The other two are kind of like, hey, we're going to be sellers at the deadline as it is. But if they can add a guy like Kaapo Kakko, it will help with the rebuild phase that both of these two teams are in. So we're going to start with the Minnesota Wild, who are currently, fighting for a playoff spot. They're not out of it yet, but as for the Wild, they could also use a young player like Kakko. It has been a tough season for them, and they have struggled with their offense. As a result, they also are in a spot where they should look at players like Kakko, even be a fit for their top six when looking at their current group right now. So, talking about the Minnesota Wild, like I said, they are kind of in that brink of, are we making the playoffs? They're in that one gray area from, we totally know we're not gonna, let's sell off, let's redo our team for next year. It's gonna be harder for the Wild to part ways with probably players New York would ask for, but that is also the sense. Now we go to the other two teams, the Anaheim Ducks, Buffalo Sabres. We're gonna start with the Sabres here. The Sabres are expected to be sellers. There's no doubt about that at the deadline. But they are also open to adding talent that will help them beyond this season. Due to this, it is not too surprising to hear that Kakko is on the radar. He could thrive in the top 9 and work well on their penalty kill. Like I said, these two teams are in the rebuild. The other one, the Anaheim Ducks. And the Sabres could look at adding a piece to kind of speed up their rebuild. Same with the Anaheim Ducks. We'll get to them in a minute. But Kaapo Kakko could just need a change of scenery. We see that with a lot of young guys. They get a change of scenery, they take off, and that could be what Kaapo Kakko needs. The Ducks make a lot of sense for suitors for Kakko. They are in the middle of a rebuild, and they are in a prime position to take a chance on a young forward with a high upside like Kakko. Perhaps joining the team with far less pressure right now could be the push Kakko needs to take the next step. You got to think, you're playing in the Rangers market compared to the Ducks market. Rangers, there is a lot of pressure on those players to capitalize game in, game out, make the playoffs, make that run for the Stanley Cup. Now, with the Anaheim Ducks, it hasn't been like that for the last 4 or 5 years. They've been kind of bottom of the Pacific, trying to figure it out, moving on from Ryan Kesler, Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, trading a lot of their defensemen they had. They had a really good core D corp in Anaheim at the time. It was Cam Fowler, Shea Theodore. They had what's his face? I can't really remember at this point. I'm drawing a blank. But Anaheim had a good team and just couldn't keep all of them. Lindholm, that's the other name. So the Ducks could really take a chance, and they do have some players that could really make sense for the New York Rangers going forward for this playoff push. I know Adam Henrique's name has been kind of thrown around to every team in the NHL. That could be a possibility. The thing about the New York Rangers and Kaapo Kakko, he's a former first round pick, second overall. They can use that as leverage as the first round pick instead of giving up an actual first round pick. We've seen that with Edmonton and Matthias Ekholm last year, where instead of giving up another first round pick, they gave up Reed Schaefer-Baker, which ultimately was the 2 first round picks in a sense. So there's that. Capo Caco going somewhere has been kind of rumored for the last 2 years or so, and always around the trade deadline his name gets picked up. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm on out of here.